listen to Kayla on Octane or something. Just go away. Okay, so here we go. When the instrument appears on the sonogram screen, the surgeon then applies firm traction to the instrument, causing a version of the fetus, if necessary, and pulls the extremity into the vagina. By observing the movement of the lower extremity and the version of the fetus on the ultrasound screen, the surgeon is assured that his instrument has not inappropriately grasped the maternal structure. With a lower extremity in the vagina, the surgeon uses his fingers to deliver the opposite lower extremity, then the torso. So the baby is, at this point, almost delivered. Okay? Almost delivered. With the lower extremity in the vagina, the surgeon uses his fingers to deliver the opposite lower extremity, and then the torso, the shoulders, and upper extremities. The skull lodges at the internal cervical, or usually there's not enough dilation to pass through. The fetus is oriented dorsum or spine up. At this point, a right-handed surgeon slides the fingers of the left hand along the back of the fetus and hooks the shoulders of the fetus with the index and ring fingers palm down. Next, he slides up the tip of the middle finger along the spine towards the skull while applying traction to the shoulders and the lower extremities. The middle finger lifts and pushes the anterior cervical lip out of the way. While maintaining tension, lifting the cervix and applying traction to the shoulders with the fingers of the left hand, the surgeon, now listen to this very carefully, you have the child hanging out of the mother's body, takes a pair of blunt, curved Metzenbaum scissors in the right hand. He carefully advances the tip, curved down, along the spine and under his middle finger until he feels it contact the base of the skull under his middle finger. Reassessing proper placement of the closed scissors, tip, and safe elevation of the cervix, the surgeon then forces the scissors into the base of the skull or foramen magnum. Having safely entered the skull, he spreads the scissors to enlarge the opening. The surgeon removes the scissors and introduces a suction catheter into the hole and evacuates the skull contents. With the catheter still in place, he applies traction to the fetus, removing it completely from the patient. A human being is brought into the world from the neck down. The surgeon then punctures the base of the skull, introduces suction, and literally sucks its brains out. And this is what the feminists want to protect and want to hold up as a hero, a man who performs this procedure time and time and time again. This is the beautiful soul that they mourn. And this person, Dr. Leroy Carhart, wants to continue this man's vision, carry on his legacy, to do this type of work. That's the science. Now what do you liberals have? Now, disclaimer, I do not want anyone to kill Dr. Leroy Carhart. I, Andrew Wilkow, am not giving you any clearance, any permission, any indication that I want any harm to come to this man. We are a lawful society. We do not kill people. But now you know the science of what we're dealing with. There is no liberal that wants to have this discussion. There is no feminist that wants to debate this topic. There is no one on the left that actually wants to discuss the science of this, because those scientific details, as I've read to you, make them sick to their stomach, or at least they think it'll make you sick to your stomach. 1-866-95-PATRIOT, 1-866-95-PATRIOT. Let's see. Sam, Oklahoma, go ahead. You're on the Wilkow Majority.
Yeah, I have a little different take on this. I agree with you on certain things, but I don't see any difference than if somebody broke into a children's hospital or maternity hospital and started shooting all the preemie babies, one after another.
Well, look, sir, what I just read to you is exactly what you just said.
Exactly, and somebody would take out this killer, he would be a hero. But I don't understand. This whole thing doesn't make any sense. There's no difference what this doctor did than somebody breaking into a hospital and shooting a preemie baby. And that's... Well,
I wanted to delve into the science of what we were dealing with. Thank you very much for the call. 1-866-95-PATRIOT, 1-866-95-PATRIOT. Jim, Missouri, you're on the Wilkow Majority. Hello.
Hello, how are you doing? Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. What I want to say is that the reason they're demonizing what's his name, Goldberg, because he wrote that book.
Yes.
Is because he's a conservative, and they found a way to demonize a conservative because, like you and other conservative talk radios and Fox Network and everything, they are getting the truth out, and they can't stand the truth getting out. So they got to demonize the conservatives so that people think that they're demons and not to believe what they're saying.
Well, I don't know how, and I thank you for the call, how anyone, I have not and will not advocate for murder as a tool of a political means to an end. But I want you to hear the science of what it is the left defends as a quote, choice. Let's see, Kathy, California, you're on the Wilkow Majority. Hello.
Hey, Andrew, how are you? Thanks for all your help. Thanks for all the wonderful teaching you do.
Well, but this, I appreciate that. But this paper has been circulating for the better part of 17 years. Dare I say that some of the people who were born when this paper was authored may be in fact lining up for this procedure right now as we speak.
That would be horrible, and I apologize in advance if I got a little emotional, because I just want to say, first of all, I wonder how many of these feminists and people who support these things, if they've ever been in actual contact with a premature baby. I had, about 12 years ago, just quickly, I was very, very sick. I was pregnant. I was 25 weeks. I had preeclampsia. I was dying. And luckily, I was at Loyola Medical Center in Chicago. And they had to do an emergency C-section on me. And I'm sorry.
It's okay.
And they did everything they could to save our son, who lived for 3 days. And I'll tell you what, when you hold a baby that is tiny, he was like the size of a Beanie Baby toy, and he responds to your voice, and you hear them making mewling sounds, and you can't imagine that someone would want to kill a baby and say, 27 weeks, or that it would be okay. I mean, what sense is there? I would have given my soul to let him live.
But you have to understand, on one side, they demonize people like me as know-nothing, anti-intellectual, anti-science. When I discuss the science, then I'm anti-woman, I'm closed-minded, I'm some sort of fundamentalist. I want to take away a woman's constitutional right to be in control of her reproductive. The language leaves the accuracy of science for nothing but damning accusations when you actually present the very science they say you know nothing about.
And you're right, and they're crazy, and I think that some of it, just human nature needs to come into play, and I mean this in a sense, I didn't understand. That was our first child. I didn't know what it was like to be a mother. I didn't really have feelings about abortion one way or the other. I didn't want to have one, and I didn't think it was right, but I wasn't, very intensely upset about it. But this is different. When you actually hold a child in your arms that's that tiny, not even your arms, in your hands, and you see that this is a viable life, you can't imagine that anyone. So I wonder, is the parenting, if people could be exposed, if they would be exposed, they would have a different.
Well, what's even more chilling is that this is all done on a sonogram. People are watching this happen on TV.
It's disgusting to me. It's disgusting. I mean, thank God I was at a Catholic hospital that did everything that they could.
Well, thank you.
Because they even baptized him, for God's sake. He was a little 3-day-old, 25-week gestation baby. I mean, they baptized him. I mean, that's got to say a lot right there.
Well, it's good to know that we still have hospitals that care about life. Thank you very much for the call. Not life as something to manage by the government, but life as something that's to be led and enjoyed and seen as a gift. 1-866-95-PATRIOT. Now, I'm going to get off this topic because we've done it for quite some time. But I will assure you of this. They can paint conservatives on this any way. And you've heard everyone else talk about it. You haven't heard the way I do it. Okay? I'm telling you, liberals, right now, as my career grows, as the Wilkow Majority expands, I am going to become your worst nightmare. You want to play the game of science? Let's play the game of science. You want to get nuts? Let's get nuts. 1-866-95-PATRIOT. 1-866-95-PATRIOT. This is the next generation of great talk radio. We are right. They are wrong. That's the end of the story. XM America